Go ahead.
Hello everyone and welcome back to Blades and Blasters. This is session 8 of our Dragonlance campaign, Knight's Frontier. I'm your GM, Wanderer, and with me I have Ghost playing Baldwin, I have Zypher playing Aesh, Waterpeck playing Dalrend, and Tetnak playing Rubrum. And let's just go straight into it. Okay. I'm going to change the music here. Okay. Okay, can everyone see this handout?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 4 of the auxiliaries have escorted the Sylvanesti Elven Scout Solinaran south to the River Watching. But after being unable to return to Norhold by nightfall, were attacked by undead. Pursued by undead wolves, they were shocked to hear one of the wolves speak to Darius Darkhand, one of their own number. Seeking shelter in the illusion-shrouded tower of the red-robed wizard Lucius Sorentam, they are surprised to find Rubrum, Aesh, and the merchant Adden Deepwell already there, seemingly having made it this far after their own journey to the south. As the door closes, shutting out the undead wolves, several of the party round on Darius, demanding answers. Lady Isabeau, commander of the auxiliary, seems particularly angry. Almost strangely so. Okay. So you're in Lucius's tower. So this is what it looks like from the outside. And you can see there the undead that attacked you near it. But you're now inside, which looks like this. So I'm just going to arrange everyone here. You can see that there's basically in the sort of round interior of the tower, there are seats that go round the interior. And on the wall here, you can see a picture of a large black tower standing in the middle of the forest. And Rubum, you've been there for a while, so you can make an Arcana or a History check to see if you know what that is.
Okay. I'll probably do a history check. Not good.
Okay. Your history should be higher than that. You've got expertise.
It just says +5.
Okay. Let me just have a check. Oh no, you do. It is +5. Okay, no worries. Yeah, so you think that this is a picture of one of the towers of high sorcery. But you don't know which one. Oh yeah, Aesh, you've been here a while. You're a bard. You're a creator of stories. Oh, but then again, you don't know much about this land, do you? You've not been here very long. So,
yeah, no, I wouldn't know much. It's just a tall building.
Yeah, it's a tall building and some trees.
And
Okay.
he knows, all he knows is that, weird men do weird things. And he's seen, it never makes sense to the usual person, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, you've heard that phrase a few times on your journey, Rubrum. Okay,
Yeah.
so let's so we have here already sitting here, we have Aesh and we have Rubrum sitting there. And how are things looking as as the rest of them kind of enter the room? You guys are sitting here as everyone kind of spills in, the wizard Lucius is sitting here with you, and he has been kind of entertaining you. He seems very pleased to have company. Seems he lives here alone, apart from a familiar, and he's pleased to have people to talk to. So what's the scene like just before the others enter? Rewind to there. Take it away.
Do you wanna... Yeah, you go.
Yeah. So Ash is sitting on, cross-legged on that couch, and, he has a lute kind of sitting in between his legs, and he has the neck of the lute in his left hand, and he's strumming along, and the strumming is not in tune. He's clearly trying to understand the instrument, but he seems to be making like slow but gradual progress. Like every few strums he seems to strum it correctly, but all the while he's talking, right? So he it looks like he's concentrating on the playing, but he isn't at the same time. And he's constantly talking. He's talking, and he flits from, one story to the other, regaling Lucius, and he doesn't even know if Rubrum is paying attention or not. But he just goes on, and he mixes in with some embellishing sub story of his conquest on some land of some, pretty lass, and. But at the same time, he's not referring to himself or the character as Ash, but it's very clear it's him, but he gives it a different name. And he kind of goes back to strumming.
Yeah, Rubrum is sitting on the couch, and he has his head kind of buried in his hands, just sitting there in silence and agony, having to listen to this over and over and over again for the last few days. He's told him to stop talking many times, but the man would just not stop. And he is just, he is quite defeated. And at some points he lifts his hands up and puts his fingers in his ears, without like trying to hide it at all. But he doesn't say anything. He just shakes his head from time to time.
There's one thing you do like though. He has surprisingly decent wine here.
Yeah, he definitely was drinking the wine, no problem.
Yeah. Okay, so you're sitting there, and then there's this banging on the door, and Lucius gets up and says, "Oh, I wonder who that is," and goes over to the door. And then in spills the rest of your party: Darius, Isabeau, Dalrend, and Baldwin. I'll describe Darius and Isabeau in a second, but let's talk about how Dalrend and Baldwin look when they enter.
Go ahead, Baldwin.
Baldwin stumbles in, just covered in blood, his own. He's leaking various stab wounds. This rotten, blackish blood pouring out, and he stumbles in, sits down of his own power, but it's heavy. And he just first thing he can find leads into his, close that door. By all the gods, close that door.
Lucius does so, and then just as he does so, you hear a howl and a thump. Something hits it, and he locks the door and also makes some gestures and mutters something, presumably casting a warding spell.
Dalren comes in on his chainmail. It almost looks like dust, but it takes a few moments for possibly Rubrum, maybe Ash, to realize it's basically almost vaporized bone that had somehow settled on his arm, or whatever they had fought, kind of almost covered him, some of his fur as well. He doesn't look nearly as bad as Baldwin does, though he has a few nicks and scrapes here and there. He's breathing heavily, as it appeared they had been sprinting for some time after whatever they encountered. As he comes in, he sits, "Well, what are you two doing here?" as he kind of stares to Ash and Rubrum.
Suffering.
And then the conversation's interrupted as Isabeau angrily rounds on Darius, and raising a voice far louder than you've heard her do before, except for when she uncharacteristically lost her temper with you this morning, Dalrend. She yells at him, "What was that? What were you doing? Why do you know that thing? Are you responsible for this, Darius? Have you been lying to us?" She seems very angry and very accusatory. Darius is kind of holding up his hands in as if, oh no. Look, I must confess, I think I know the voice. It's someone I unfortunately had dealings with. Someone who tried to kill me before. Rather nasty necromancer. And then Isabeau said, yells back at him. She doesn't seem at all sort of mollified by this. She just yells back at him. You brought him here? You brought him to us? You brought this down on us all? And as she says so, two things happen at once. The first is that lightning erupts from her eyes. It just sparks from her eyes and erupts about 6 inches beyond them. And you think, so that's what it looks like when it happens to me. And then she collapses. Her entire body starts convulsing, and lightning starts just kind of sparking all over her body, just small sparks of it. And she just lies there convulsing. What do you do?
We lost Zyver.
Ah.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There he is.
He's back. X, can you hear us? No, you're muted if you're speaking. No. Okay, let's just carry on and see if he can rejoin us, and we'll catch him up when he does. So how does everyone react to this? Isabeau kind of sparking with lightning and then collapsing.
Baldwin is trying to get down to her side immediately, even though he's pretty messed up. Just to make sure she's still breathing and not.
Can I do an
dead.
Arcana check to see if I can identify what's going on?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, as he's doing that, Dalrand will kind of scoop her up and lay her down on, some of these cushions on this kind of round couch.
Yep. You take a point of damage from the lightning as you carry her.
He lets it kind of...
It's burning you a little bit.
We're all used to singed Minotaur hair by now after the attack on Kalenius, or whatever his name was. So just a little bit more singed cow hair as he kind of sets her down and kind of tries to prop her head up a little, see what's going on. Yeah.
She is kind of, her teeth are clenched. She's muttering. Rubrum, you've seen something like this before. This is something that you've seen a couple of times in adolescence. This is the kind of extreme reaction that can happen when a sorcerer's talent first expresses itself. And something like a moment of intense emotion can spark it. Quite literally spark it in this case. And so Zypher, just to catch you up, Isabeau really lost her temper with Darius and all of a sudden collapsed and is now has lightning crackling all over her. And I'm going to whisper you something. So guys, carry on.
Yeah, Rubrum just says, I believe she'll be okay. I've seen this sort of thing before.
What is it? What happened?
It is something that I have seen when someone's natural propensity for magics begins to well up and spill forth.
She was overwhelmed by magic?
She is magic.
Lucius sort of reaches over and is about to touch her forehead and then says, "Oh, fascinating! I thought she was supposed to be a wizard. The Kingfishers. Well, she wears the white robes of one trained in the tower. That will be complicated. I mean, we of course have nothing against sorcerers now, but the history is fraught. As I'm sure you know, he nods to Rubrum.
He shrugs like he couldn't care. Yes, yes. Well, I think she'll be fine. Just put her out of the way.
As the two of them are talking, kind of Dalren looks up. Do you want to explain that to a simple-minded person like me? What are you talking about?
She is a sorcerer.
It's first any of you have heard of this.
So, I thought she was a paladin or something like that. How can she be a sorcerer?
Rubrum shrugs. Perhaps she is related to a dragon.
How about the gods is one related to a dragon?
Well, the dragon polymorphs and takes a mate.
Dalren's mouth just kind of like open, like, I've never considered that.
Rubrum just starts nodding.
Hey, Ash, you've definitely heard of stuff like this. Those are the kind of stories you like.
Yeah, Ash pipes up and he's like, yes, the Dragonborn.
No. A human or an elf with the dragon blood. Not a dragonborn, not a draconian.
No, weird man. There are many forms of Dragonborn. It depends on how close you live to dragons.
He's looking at Darius, Aish, like, are you fucking kidding me? Just, like, extremely, like, thank you for your tutelage.
You are most welcome. And like, Aish is like, fully gives him a, like, low brow, bow, and he says, yeah, Aish is like, yeah, I know about dragons. I'm the foremost expert in this land.
Yeah, you're from near the Isle of Dragons, right?
Yeah.
I know. What do these guys know?
Yeah, I know my stuff. I know my stories and legends and truths.
Yeah. Rubrum, you know that that Dragonborn were first created from something called Dragon Spawn, where the Dragon Overlords, who were pretty unusual dragons, not from this world, they had enough power they could just take one of their scales and embed it into a human who slowly changed to a dragon-like humanoid form.
Yeah, he doesn't bother explaining it. He just puts his head in his hands again. She'll be fine.
And Aesh, you've definitely heard tales of all sorts of things. People with dragon lineage and dragon-like humanoids being created, or you've heard of tens of different stories of different ways of all this happening.
Yeah, exactly. And there's many a myth. That's why some of the ships are have dragon like features on the ships he's seen. He's seen houses with dragon based roofs, and he just knows it from a completely different perspective. Right? It's not a very black and white perspective of a weird man.
Yeah. Darren, you do recall Lucius saying that Isabeau was another member of his order, a wizard. And wizards and sorcerers are different. Like, wizards are trained, and they're part of an order with very strict rules, or most of them are. And sorcerers, it's a natural talent. It's supposed to be wilder. It's supposed to be more untamed. It's not studied. It's just natural ability. And you've never heard of someone being both, so this sounds really weird. And Isabeau's never spoken about being a sorcerer, certainly. Baldwin, you know that both of those things too. In fact, Baldwin, you know that, because you know Isabeau's family, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you all know that she trained at the Tower of High Sorcery as a wizard. And she had to leave halfway through her training, so she never really fully became a wizard, but she does have some basic training. And she was determined to become a wizard in the tower because her mother was. Her mother died when she was quite young. So, yeah, this was a real thing for her, wanting to be a wizard. So this is quite disturbing.
Yeah, so Baldwin thinks on that, and he begins to ponder maybe why she had to go back. Maybe this is related to it, or but he's neither here nor there right now. He gets up and helps bring his boat to the side, looks to Rubrum and Ayesh. What are you two doing here anyhow?
Ruben just lets Aish speak.
He knows he can't stop him anyway.
Yeah. Rubrum is about to speak and about to answer when Ayesh kind of like jumps again, and now starts strumming the lute. He is connecting a few notes, but he's not, and then he kind of just looks at it and he's angry and then, but I'll tell you, I know. Yeah. Remember that merchant we were traveling with? Well, not
yes.
under our own volition, if you know what I mean. Like, and he kind of like harkens back to the time where Dalrend and Darius got caught, and
he's actually here. I forgot to put him on the map, sorry. Oh, carry on.
Yeah, 1 minute. So, yeah. Well, he had a job for us. He needed someone to protect him while he did some business. And Rubrum said yes. But I tagged along to, I thought Rubrum needed some company. I believe I've told you guys most of my stories, but I never get to spend time with him. He sits in his dirty little hut and then he kind of goes off into a tangent about Rubrum's hut and then kind of comes back. So we went with him, did some work for him, and then, we are here.
And yes, I forgot to mention Adam was here, but he's actually sitting there as well. He's been chatting to Lucius, and he's been enjoying Esh's stories quite a lot. Annoying Rubrum, he seems to have an irrepressible good humour, and he has been enjoying the wine quite a lot, and he's a bit drunk now. So before you guys came in, he'd been he'd been dropping off to sleep here in these comfortable cushions at the end. And he's kind of roused a little bit as you guys come in, but he's very sleepy. And he kind of like theatrically waves hello to everyone and giggles. And then he starts closing his eyes again.
Dalran kind of gets up from where he is, kind of kneeling where he sat down, Isabeau, and kind of looks at Rubrum. Well, my friend here, and he points over to Darius, seems to have a necromancer after him, and he has a bunch of creepy wolves, monstrous things.
Yes, I told him about that already.
Now you have a chance to use her magic, and waves at his hands without worrying about setting anything on fire. You can go out and torch all of them and be rid of this menace.
I wasn't worried. Yes. Outside is best. Like I said, I told Darius, a week ago about this. I was accosted by one of these wolves that was a puppet, and someone wanted me to lure him out into the woods.
They offered you money? Was that the one that wanted 500 steel for him?
Yes, that was their initial offer. And then magical items was next when I disagreed with the first, and then I simply did not say no or yes. I considered it. He shrugs.
How does Baldwin react to all this? Because you thought, before this started, you thought you kind of knew who Rubrum was.
I have no idea who this person is whatsoever now. Yeah, he just looks at Rubrum just like basically going on a tangent. All that aside, we do. It may be best to try to head back, but I don't know. Maybe we could try to wait the wolves out.
Are they outside?
They are.
Yes, you've heard them howling out there, and several of them thumped against the door. Door sparked a few times. Lucius has been looking at it, but he doesn't seem too worried. He saw him ward the door.
As we encountered skeletons, fought those things off, and as soon as we finished those off, these wolves started chasing us. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Is the necromancer with them?
Not that we've seen.
I can't see anything in that mist, except those wolves bearing down on us. If she's here, she has chosen not to reveal herself. She's only spoke through one of those things.
Darius says, actually it's, believe it or not, it's a he. Just has a rather squeaky voice.
Oh,
Look at him, you wouldn't think it. He's, yeah. He said he was sending his apprentice.
What
Anything we
apprentice?
should know about
What?
this apprentice? Or...
Yes, like, why don't you elaborate?
No, I didn't. I had no idea that he had an apprentice. I knew he had a jailer, a sort of minion, a henchman, a man of little wit and, well, worse manners and worse appearance. Ugly fellow. But no, this is the first I knew that he had an apprentice. And again, I didn't know he had these wolves either. And he takes another sip of Ayesh's wine.
At a later time, Darius, I believe it would be appropriate for you to sit down with Isabeau or someone of authority to talk about all of this as a potential threat.
Later, like hell, I want to know what you took or did to this necromancer.
And Darius sort of sighs and says, "Oh, very well." And he give me a second. Okay. So he looks across at you, takes yet another sip of Ayesh's wine, and he says, "Well, I crossed him. I didn't mean to, but well, it was gambling. I entered a tournament, and well, I was doing well. I did very well. I got through to the final round, and who lets a necromancer into a tournament? I had no idea. Anyway, I beat him, and well, he.
And you cheated.
Well, that wasn't the bad part. I may have cheated a little in the tournament, but not too much. No one caught me. But the trouble was when I saw how he had a set of dice with him. Very nice dice. Gold and black diamonds. And, well, I couldn't resist. I mean, who keeps something valuable like that just in a pocket? I mean, a pocket where anyone could take it. And he looks around the room like, right, you get it, right? And he said, so, well, I took them. And they're magical. They're great. They
Let
they
me
help
see
in
these
various
dice.
ways. And he says, well, perhaps it's best I keep them safe. And he says, well, eventually the wizard worked out what I'd done, and he stole them back from me after ambushing me on the road to Liggett. But, well, then he imprisoned me, tortured me.
And then?
And, well, he imprisoned me, tortured me, and that's where this man called Lenny comes in. He was, I've never seen an uglier human nor smelled one. But at any rate, after Lenny drank too much and collapsed one night, fell asleep with a cell key round his neck. Well, and he said, let's just say I'm very deaf with my toes, and he winks across at Aesh. And he said, well, then I managed to escape, and on the way out, and he chuckles to himself, he says, I stole the dice back. That showed him. And, well, he pursued me to Calaman, or his minion Lenny did. And there I lost him, or thought I did. But I think he's on my trail again.
Really? What gave you that idea?
And he sighs and takes another sip of Aesh's wine. And says, oh, Aesh, your glass is running low. And then Lucius comes with a glass for him, and he pours half into Aesh's glass and keeps the other half.
Baldwin rubs his forehead again, touching the mask first and then going behind it. Couldn't you just give him these dice back? Would that not solve this issue?
If you know Darius, you know that's not gonna happen.
And Darius smiles, but looks slightly confused that Dalrend understands him so well after knowing such a short time. He says, well, I think you'll find, my friend, that these are my ticket to greatness. I just have to keep them safe a while longer until, well, they'll lead me to my fortune, I know. I'm sure of it. By this time next year, I'll be rich.
What fortune are you going to find killed by undead wolves? This man's going to pursue you till he gets those back.
Well, you see, I've heard of a place. They say there's a place here called the Sanctum Impermissus, somewhere hidden in that forest. And there we can find many things like these. And at this he does actually take the dice out of his pocket, and you see that they are small but very intricate gold dice. Solid gold, they must be heavy. And the pips on all of them look like they're sort of black crystal, but as he says, they're actually black diamonds. Solid, night black. Very rare. Just in materials alone, this is worth a fortune, let alone what it will be worth as a magical item.
Rubrum looks over Lucius and says, I have a question for you, wizard. Could you teleport us back to the fort?
Oh, I'm afraid such magic is beyond my ability. But we should be able to return in the morning. I've never known undead stay longer than the night. If they're still there in the morning, well, I will clear the way for you. If they're what you say, they are merely dreadwolves. I can deal with such things. Not a problem. Just lean out a window and fireball the whole bloody lot of them.
Did you say fireball? It is my favorite spell.
Why don't you go do that right now, Rubrum? Take care of it now.
If I could cast fireball right now, I certainly would, but I can't.
Lucius looks confused and says, you've forgotten the spell. Never heard of that happening. Normally once a spell is engraved in a wizard's memory, then, or a sorcerer's even, I know your kind works differently, but they normally stay
I work very differently. Don't worry about it.
Fascinating. And he sits back sipping his glass of wine and eyeing Rubrum up, kind of like weighing him up.
Well, then I will go to sleep, if that is what must be done.
Yes, I'm afraid I only have one guest bed.
Well,
but,
I will be taking that.
It's
I
going to be for Isabeau.
That was what I rather thought.
She's passed out. What does she need a nice bed for?
Well, shivery, old man, shivery. And also, she's obviously not well. And he says, Dalren, could you perchance carry her up for me?
Of course. We'll kind of lift her up and cradle her.
How big is the bed? I could perhaps sleep in there as well.
You will do no such thing, says Lucius.
Even Dalren stops as he's carrying her and looks back like, bro, that's creepy.
He doesn't understand he's really just what's part of the bed. He's completely confused.
Is this couch not comfortable enough for you to sleep on?
I'm used to the finer things in life, which from you, the last few weeks is definitely not true.
Yeah, Evolving just shakes his head. He starts to clean himself off a bit. Has a seat.
So does Dalren carry Isabeau?
Yeah, he'll carry her up there to the room, and he kind of looks at Lucius, and he kind of scratches the top of his head by the horn. He's like, should we take her armor off, I guess?
I suppose so. We can both be surety for each other that there has been no misbehavior. And he'll start undoing the complete...
Rupert just says, don't send Aish to watch over you. That is for sure. You should have heard all the things that he told me on the way here.
And Darius immediately says, oh, do tell Ish. And the stories start again.
Yeah, and
Presumably.
before the stories start, Aish gives Darius a dirty look for continuing to drink his wine. And as Darius is about to, drink his wine, even though he shared half with Aish just grabs Darius's cup and his cup and kind of medieval style double fists wind down his throat, and then kind of hops up on the couch and starts tapping his leg. He pulls out his lute again, and this time he seems to have a few very basic chords, and he's stringing them along, and he sings to Darius, "Oh Darius, Darius, what did you do? Told us not of this necro, how could you? For sake of your dice, you have left us here trapped like mice. Fame and fortune you seek, to what ends will you go to wet your beak?" And then kind of Ash changes the tune a bit and changes the chord, but then he says "But who am I to judge? For it is fame and fortune for which I continue to trudge. So let's go to the place of which you speak, and we shall all find treasures that we all seek." And then he starts playing again and dancing around. And eventually crashes right next to Darius, puts his arm around him, and then kind of starts whispering in his ear, and Darius starts chuckling and then laughing. And Rubrum, you get the sense that there were versions of the story that Ash didn't tell you. He told you a slightly watered down, and he's giving Darius the full lowdown. And you can just get the sense that it is raunchy as fuck.
Yeah, he probably actually doesn't pick up on any of that. He's completely oblivious to interactions with people. Yeah, he's just trying not to hear, honestly.
So Lucius and Dalren take Isabeau's unconscious body upstairs. She's still sparking with small amounts of lightning, but fortunately you've seen it wasn't enough to set the sofa ablaze. It did kind of slightly blacken it in a couple of places, but it's too brief to actually set fire to anything, so it doesn't seem to be a risk to leave her. You take off her chain shirt and her chainmail and leave her up there. Then Lucius comes down and says, well, my guests, I will bring down some blankets and the fire will keep going all night. It's magical, you know. And, well, I hope you all have a good night. And he goes upstairs, gets some blankets, brings them down for everyone, covers Adam, who appears to be already asleep. He's lying with his mouth open, snoring and drooling. And, Lucius goes up to bed.
Dalren kind of grabs a blanket and picks out a spot on the floor near the fire and, kind of goes over to Darius. Kind of a mixture of stern, and he goes, listen, I'm going to help you get rid of your necromancer problem, but it just means there's going to be a little bit more of my share of the loot at the sanctum.
And Darius claps you on the back and says, ha! Of course. There'll be more than enough for all of us.
Mm-hmm. Also, tomorrow, no matter what happens, tell Isabeau I totally saw her naked when she was passed out. That will greatly amuse me. Then he kind of laughs and just rolls over.
Okay. Anyone else doing anything else tonight? Any sort of RP before we go to the next morning?
Usual stuff from Baldwin. I will take in the songs and stories of Aesh and then just try to heal up. And
Rubrum saunters kind of over to Baldwin and will sit next to him, and he says, "Do you mind if I sleep next to you?"
Baldwin, he sits there and he looks at Rubrum. No, Rubrum, I do not mind.
Are you well from your battle? Were you injured?
He looks down at the dry blood on his chainmail, and
and it's black blood as well, right?
Black blood, yes. He looks down, and I did not fare too well, but I live. Come the morning, I'm certain I'll be better.
Good. It is important that you live.
For what reason?
Because one day you may have progeny and spread your line.
I think that appears rather unlikely.
Why is that? Because of your face?
No, not just that, although I'm sure that would have some impact.
Are you a eunuch?
No.
I think it is not a problem.
I don't know the full effects of this curse that I have.
We will see you mended together.
I sincerely doubt that, but I admire your optimism, I suppose?
Yes, I am very optimistic.
Historically, yes.
I tire. I'm glad I am not the only one that must suffer that one's words and tales. Perhaps he shall fall asleep soon, so I will not hear his voice. He's looking over to Aish.
Oh, it's a certain level of levity that I appreciate from before all this, and Baldwin gestures to himself.
Well, you may have mine, and listen to his tales instead of I. I have never known someone to talk about sex so much.
Oh, I see. And he looks at him and just keeps thinking about progeny being asked, like, every time.
That doesn't... Oh, is that how it happens?
It's just... Baldwin's like trying to put together 2 + 2, and it keeps equaling 3 in this case. He's just like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
You guys, some of you guys weren't there in their initial session when Baldwin first asked Baldwin, "Do you have any progeny?" And Baldwin was like, "What? No." And then they were talking, and then Isabeau said, "And I don't have any progeny either. If you're interested." And Ruben said, Why would I want to know that?
It's a character trait at this point.
Yeah, he just kind of just shrugs and lays back on the couch and throws the blanket over his head completely. And eventually falls silent.
Yeah, Baldwin will just lay there and eventually fall asleep with prayers on his lips.
Ash and Darius continue to drink into the night. Eventually, Ash's stories stop, and he lets Darius talk to him and tell him all about whatever Darius knows about this treasure out there. And the more he hears from Darius, like Ash's, eyes widen and widen like, saucers, and he's like, he can't believe the stories he can now tell if they go find this treasure. So.
Yeah.
And eventually he sleeps as well. Yeah.
Darius seems to have been talking to Lucius earlier in the day, and the wizard's given him a possible clue. He's shown him the location where a gateway can be found. That's the start of a path, some kind of magical path that leads to the sanctum. Eventually silence falls in the room, apart from soft snoring from Adam, slightly louder snoring from Dalrend, and Rubrum makes some odd noises in his sleep. He almost seems to whistle, and sometimes he seems to let out almost like a low growl in his sleep. It's kind of odd. But eventually, despite all those sounds from all the rest of you, you all fall silent, and the howls of the wolves outside, now a little more distant, lull you off to sleep. Okay. And eventually morning comes. Everyone can get a long rest, and through the magic of 5e, everyone's hit points are restored. It's the craziest thing about
fine
5e.
in the morning. I told you.
I like the dig. I like it.
Sleep it off. Sleep it off.
Sleep off the stab wounds.
Yep.
That is.
Because that's how life works.
That's
Yep.
right, baby.
It's the greatest ever.
Hey, we're back, baby.
This
You're
is the most commonly house rule thing in 5e, I reckon. Yeah. Let's not have everyone's wounds healed magically overnight. Right. Okay. So morning dawns and there's no sound of howling. Lucius comes down and makes everyone some breakfast. He cooks some food over the fire. He's got some meat that he brings out. You find that he's brought some bacon back from the inn, and he cooks everyone bacon and eggs for breakfast. He didn't have enough plates to go around, so he said you kind of have to take it in turns. He kind of cooks something, serves it up for one person, then he's got 4 plates, so you kind of, by the time someone's eaten, they can pass their plate onto another one, etc., etc. Anyone doing anything particular at breakfast? Isabeau is still unconscious upstairs.
Baldwin will eat last. Let everybody else have their turn. He actually has a question for Lucius whenever Lucius has a spare moment.
Yeah, Dalren will eat a large portion, trying to match what everybody else eats combined.
Rubrum wouldn't eat very much. He's a light eater, heavy drinker.
Okay, yeah, Alan is in a bit subdued this morning. He's obviously hungover, and he kind of looks tired. He doesn't eat very much. He just has a single egg, and that's it. And has a cup of water, or very, very watered down ale. And he sort of greets everyone. He doesn't seem to remember having seen most of you last night. And generally pretty subdued. He tries to manage a smile when he can there. So what are you guys going to do?
Yeah, after Rubrum eats, he just says, Are the things still outside, or should we get going?
Lucius goes to the door, says a few words and cancels the spell, opens it up and peers round, hand at the ready, as if to throw a spell, but then looks, then opens the door further, steps out and looks around and says, yeah. No, it's a fine morning out there.
My vote is for heading to this sanctum.
Oh, and Baldwin, you were going to ask Lucius a question, right?
Yeah. It can be on the way out. We can sort out where we're going. Baldwin, he's not certain about that. It's the sanctum. Isn't that the one with the dragon that is supposed to be there?
Dragon? What dragon?
Out of character, Wander, this is the sanctum that apparently there was like a green dragon or something that was...
Yeah, it's within the lands of this green dragon, right, that it kind of claims, called Verduros.
Look into Rubrum. There's supposed to be a sanctum with some great treasures, relics, artifacts, things of that nature. It's within the territory of a green dragon, apparently.
What is this dragon's name?
And Lucius is just coming back from the door, says, his name to mortals is Verduros, a green dragon. Not particularly great among his kind, I think, but, well, great enough to be a threat to any mortal.
A spy and a lickspittle.
Yeah, Baldwin looks at that. You know this dragon?
Yeah, I know of him. I have heard of him. Green dragons are pathetic.
Lucius chuckles and says, "Ha ha! That is almost a warrior's perspective, Rubrum. I'm surprised to hear it coming from a sorcerer. But yes, there are those who view green dragons in such a way. But yes, and when the Queen of Dragons still lived, green dragons were often employed in such a way by her armies. Yes. Spies changing to mortal shape and infiltrating their foes.
Yes, this one, I believe, if I remember correctly, would change into an elven lord. Very high and mighty.
You studied dragons directly, Rubrum? Is that how you know this?
I know many things. He kind of pushes his plate away.
Lucius looks impressed and says, "Even I did not know that." "Ha! You are a man of surprises, Rubrum. I'm impressed. Ha! We must talk more. You have obviously much lore that I did not appreciate."
Yes, I am very wise.
Lucius chuckles.
And Baldwin looks to Dalren. I feel that we should return to Norhold. We provisioned only for a couple of days' travel. Do we even know exactly where this sanctum is?
We know where it starts.
I think it is unwise, especially if we need to haul the body of the woman.
More to the point, we have responsibilities to Norhold first. We can't just go off somewhere.
Yes, we need to make the surrounding area of Norhold safe by killing wolves and the undead and Knights of Naraka. Consider it a patrol.
And Lucius adds, "Besides, there are three secrets you must learn to enter the sanctum. To find the path, to follow the path, and to break the seal. I only know one of them. I have passed it on to Darius, the location of the gate that marks the start of the path. I hope you are able to do more than I could. I was
We'll be
never
going
able
in
to find it.
unprepared.
So
You
we know
would
where
get
to
lost.
start. Now
You
we
would get
don't know.
lost on the path.
Well then, I guess we should return to Norhold, and then I say go about trying to find this path, how to follow it. Without, of course, shirking our duties to the Knights of Solamnia.
Of course. Problem. It's up. Well, if we're all prepared, looks to Lucius. If you have a moment, might I ask you a question?
Oh, of course. Of course, dear boy.
There is an individual suffering from a curse in Norhold. There's a recent encounter with a disciple of Morgian. It's a curse, a poison, and a disease. 2 of the 3 were cured, but we currently possess no means to undo the curse. You wouldn't happen to have any magic or potion, anything like that that might help them?
I should be able to do that. I've never cast the spell, but I do possess a book that contains it. I've learned the spell. One of many I've studied in my long years.
I would owe you a great favor. It, again, is beyond our reach, and I do not know who else I would go to besides writing my order.
Ah, not at all, not at all. Well, let us consider it that. I will return with you, I will end this curse, and, well, one good turn deserves another. That's all I will ask.
Yes, I would owe you a great favor, of course.
Of course. And he smiles and pats Baldwin on the shoulder. He says, I will not be able to cast it today, but I can study it in the morning, and if need be, I can cast it more than once.
Very good, very good. We will see you there then, for sure. We will come with you. You will come with us, I suppose. We will head there if you're ready to go now.
And Dalrend, Darius exchanges a look with you, and then sort of looks across at Baldwin and says, "But Baldwin, you yourself were cursed, were you not? He could cure you too. I'm sure he wouldn't mind."
Of the new one that I have, yes, but it doesn't make much difference.
Well, I'm very happy to do it for you, dear boy.
Certainly,
And,
one thing at a time.
Of course, of course. Once memorized, I can cast it as many times as I wish, well, within reason. And he goes upstairs, and you hear him bustling around amongst books. Dalren, I presume you go and put Isabeau's, gather up Isabeau and her armor and get ready to take her.
Yeah, I guess he's going to be lugging her around if she's still conked out.
Yeah, Arden, as you come down, says, "Oh, I can help you there, Dalrend. I've got a hand cart out back if the wolves haven't destroyed it." And he goes over to the corner, and in behind one of the chairs, there's a few sacks of stuff that he kind of hauls out. He says, "I was just putting these on there, but we can, we can arrange them round her. Really, I don't think they'll hurt her." And there's kind of various trade goods there. Ash and Rubram, he called in a favour, and he got enough goods to open a shop, which he's planning to do in Norhold. And he says, "Yeah, I mean, the cart will be heavy. I mean, if you don't mind pulling her, it'll be easier than carrying her, though."
Very well.
Ah, wonderful, wonderful. And he goes to clap Dalrend on the back and then catches a look of his eye and doesn't. And then just goes outside to his cart and you hear him calling out, "Cart's all right, cart's all right." And you hear him kind of trundling it round laboriously.
Yeah, he kind of looks around waiting for a beast of burden joke that never comes, and carries Isabeau, lays her down, props her head up, under maybe a rucksack or blanket of some kind, and goes to the front waiting for everybody to get ready to move out.
Great. Okay, and everyone sort of makes their way. Anyone want to do anything particular on the way back? Lucius will come with you, and he is... he's going to... He kind of seals up his tower as you leave, and you hear him talking upstairs to his familiar, but you don't see it. And he seals up the tower, leaves it, and is coming back with you to Norhold. And he's laughing and joking about how it's the second time he's been to Norhold in a week. He said, haven't been there in months, and now twice in a week. Oh, why, I've become quite the traveller. And anyone want to do anything on the journey?
Not Rubrum.
Nope.
Okay.
Ash is pretty hungover on the journey, so whenever nobody is looking, he will sit on the cart for a little while.
It's just a hand cart. It's very difficult to sit on it subtly.
Oh shit! Then he'll just try and drag on it so that he's kind of being dragged by the cart while the cart is being dragged by the Minotaur.
Ropes himself to the hitch and just
Yeah.
He gets some nasty looks from Dalrend like, keep it up and you will not enjoy what happens to you.
And then when he gets a look, he kind of straightens and starts walking till he tries to do it again a little bit further down the road.
Baldwin will get them try to get everybody in a marching order, pretty much. So Darius is coming with us, right, as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I need to put him on there.
Darius has keen eyes and Ayesh is hungover, so keeping these things in mind, he's just Darius in front, Baldwin second, Sorcerer and Wizard in the middle, Dalrend and Ayesh in the back.
In front, Sorcerer in the middle,
Aiden can be in there with the wizards if he's coming with us as well.
Okay. Okay. And then there. Okay. Cool. I'm moving Rubrum aside a little bit just because that seems very Rubrum. Okay, and you make your way back. Anyone want to do anything in particular on the way? And if not, we'll just talk about what happens when you return. Okay, you return. Sorry.
Oh, no, I'm good.
You return to Norhold by about lunchtime. You see that standing on guard there in the gatehouse is one of the men at arms, one of your fellow auxiliaries, and there's two of them, in fact, a man and a woman, and they both veterans, and they kind of nod, and seeing that Isabeau is there in the cart, they rush to open the gate, and there's a bit of a stir as you come in. Have you done anything special with Isabeau's body, or are you just kind of leaving her lying there unconscious on the cart?
I'd throw a blanket over if there was one, just in case.
We would take, because she's staying in the White Hart Inn, is she not?
She is.
Yeah, I would move the cart over to there and pick her up and take her into her room.
Yeah. On the way, a few people, not many people, notice that she's kind of sparking with electricity, but those who get closer definitely do. And there's a mutter of gossip as you take her over to the inn.
Yeah, he'll take her up to her room, strip her down again, put her in the bed, and go over to Joffrey and just be like, listen, she had quite the experience out on the trail. Just maybe peek in and check on her every once in a while. She's fine, though. That's what Rubrum and Lucius say.
Oh, very well. And he looks a little bit disturbed and says, "It's whatever that is. It's not dangerous, is it?" He kind of waves his hand. Oh, right. All right then. Great. And yep, she's kind of laid out in her room, and you can make your way to do whatever you choose for now in Norhold. I'm sure it won't be long till Geraint hears what's happened, but until then you've got a little bit of free time.
What has happened to Calenius's house since it was abandoned by him? And by abandoned, I mean made available when we murdered him.
Yeah, it's... No one's moved into the murderer house of the dead cultist, no.
Looks like I'm claiming it.
Yep, no one contests that, even slightly. Yep. People seem to think that the house of a murdered cultist of the god of disease might be a little bit dodgy to live in, but yeah, you're not bothered.
Yeah, thanks to my useless level 3 artisan skill, I can fix it because I can do carpentry stuff.
Hey, because the door is a bit buggered up after that glyph went off.
Right.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so you can start working on that. Darius goes off to drink in the inn. And then after a while, Geraint does actually put in an appearance. Is anyone in the inn? Because that's where he's gonna go through.
Oh
I
yeah,
would-
yeah. Ash would be back at the inn with Darius, drinking again, talking something about the only way to keep a hangover away is never fade from drinking. So.
Yeah, it is lunchtime, so yeah,
Yeah.
Dalren will end up over there to eat.
Right.
I would
Anyone else
take
there for
lunch as well. Baldwin had been at the infirmary, letting Eleanor know the good news.
Yes. Yep.
About that there is her curse is going to be cured.
She thanks you. She sheds a tear or two and thanks you for your kindness and how good a friend you've been.
Nothing to it. And then Baldwin's going to go take lunch.
Yeah, I could
Okay.
see Rubrum being there and just drinking. He has 50 steel now, so he doesn't have to ask other people for money.
Yeah, it's a good feeling. Yep. Okay. And then, as I said, Geraint comes striding in, and he. Oh, let's drop the wrong token on there. He comes striding in the door and over to Jeffrem and says, "Is it true? Is Lady Isabeau here?" And Jeffrem kind of nods uncomfortably. And he says, he comes walking over to the table, strides over to the table here, nods respectfully to Lucius, but...
Have you moved us on the screen? I think we're still in the tower, just so you know.
Oh!
I like this view and all.
Sorry,
Very good.
I changed my slide twice
I figured.
during this period. Yeah, let me... here we go. There's this whole new thing with folders now, and when you switch folders, I wasn't sure how to move the player view across. Anyway, sorry about that. So, right. There you are. You should all see the inn now.
Yes.
Thank you very much. So yeah, he kind of strides over to you, and you're all sitting, talking at the table, and he says, "So, what happened? I hear that Lady Isabeau is indisposed, ill, and that lightning cascades across her." And you see also he glances, just as he said that, he glances slightly in Airsh's direction. And you think he may have heard a story, but he's not admitting it.
Ash kind of looks up at him sheepishly and then kind of goes back to drinking and to Darius.
I'd also say anyone who wants to read Geraint's intentions can make an insight check.
Yeah, I will.
Let's see.
As I'm doing that, Baldwin will try to reassure Geraint. It is a sorceress mishap, we believe. She is a sorcerer, unaware of such things. She will recover. It was just an outburst of magical energy.
Sorcerer? I did not know such a thing. Yeah, Rubrum Baldwin, you can't read him at all. He's very kind of, keeps his emotions buckled down. Dalren, though, you can read him like a book. He is very concerned about Isabeau. You're pretty sure he's got feelings for her, but he's trying not to admit it to himself, or perhaps he is admitting it, but he's trying to fight it. Definitely conflicted there. And there's lots of expressions kind of flit across his face when he talks about her. But also he's worried, and he's angry with you guys, like you didn't protect him. But he's trying to restrain that, because he doesn't, he's presumably he doesn't think that that's very reasonable of him to be angry, but he is.
Never to let old slights, stay in the past. He remembers Geraint accusing him of being a murderer and wanting to strike him down. So he kind of takes a drink and he goes, "Well, my lord, we encountered trouble along the way on the return trip here after the scout made it safely across the river. We were attacked by skeletons, which we dispatched and made it into Lucius's tower. Once there, she succumbed to some sort of, I don't know what you would call it, electrical overload, magic overload, I don't know. She had electric charge going through her, so I took her upstairs and stripped her down nude and made sure she wasn't seriously injured from this electric charge."
Lucius coughs in his wine and says, "Now, Ren, what an inappropriate fabrication." And he kind of reaches out to Geraint and goes, "Dalren was actually the perfect gentleman. We merely took off her armor and nothing more. We both observed each other to make sure there was no impropriety. Dalren, scoundrel." And he gives a slight smile, but he really does look quite shocked that Dalren would make up such a thing.
Yeah, it's like you see the smile on his face, like just like this big. It's like his tongue hanging out to the side because he's just enjoying twisting the knife. He goes, "Fine, she's perfectly fine, just unconscious. It was a very charged situation, but it was resolved."
Hands. Just fucking hell.
Geraint says, "Well done for discharging your duty, Dalren. Perhaps your stories need a little modification." But he's flushing bright red, and you realise only half his attention's on you. Half his attention is on trying not to blush so obviously. And then he says, I must leave. I have business to attend to. And he looks around the table and says, "Baldwin, if you'll report to me."
Yeah, and Baldwin had coughed when, like, the... What did Dalren say? Was it like the
Charge situation?
A charge situation? Yeah, the charge situation, he was just... There's like that slight smirk starting to form. And then when Geraint said as much as he wants to not laugh, he can't help it. Like, it's just... He coughs, so it's coughs on his soup a bit, and then whenever Grant addresses him, says, yes, Lord Grant, of course, I will speak with you right after lunch if that is appropriate.
If you would step outside now for a moment, I would appreciate it.
Yes, of course, my lord.
As the two of them walk out, just Dalron's like, my lord, as soon as she wakes, we will have you informed.
Thank you. I will. There'll be no need. I don't wish to. I don't need to. I shouldn't. There's no need for me to talk to her.
Rubrum looks around. I think he is ill. He has had a stroke.
My lord, let's go outside, shall we? Let's have a conversation.
Great's just overloading in so many ways at the moment.
Overloading, huh?
Yeah, oh no. He steps outside with Baldwin and says,
Powering up.
Before you left, Isabeau had been making representations to me that that some of your auxiliaries should go north. There's an old watchtower there. My uncle had been determined to retake it. It's an old Salamnic outpost, much like this one, but in its day, stronger. I think we can risk it. There should be reinforcements arriving soon, and I think it will be good for you to get some space. Yes. And he inadvertently looks over towards the back of the inn where Isabeau's room is and says, space is a good thing sometimes. Anyway, those are your orders, Baldwin.
Of course, Lord Geraint. You said it was a watchtower to the north. Do you know anything else about it?
Oh, yes. I do apologize. He takes his sort of breath, settle himself a bit, and says, this is not the first time that Nightlund has been settled. Not long after the War of Souls some 2 centuries ago, there was an attempt to settle this land. There were several outposts founded here, and some hundreds of people made their home here. Farms. Many knights came out this way and slew the undead in the area. There were great battles back then. The land was crawling with undead, they say. But they cleared the land, began to farm it, and began to spread further north towards the forest. They never were able to take the forest to spread our influence that far, but they spread it up to the very borders of the forest, to the borders of the dragon's domain. For they say the dragon was here even then. I'm not sure I believe there is a dragon still there now, but certainly they believed it, and my uncle thought it was possibly true. I myself cannot believe that such a beast would not have bothered us by now. Anyway, there was a castle. They built it there on a rise overlooking the forest, close to its borders. It marked the very northern part of our domain, our influence. But then there was a dark night, a night of blood, a night of betrayal. There were cultists, servants of the dark gods, who had infiltrated all of our outposts in secret. And one night they all rose up, murdered knights in their beds, stabbed sentries in the back, opened the gates to let in their minions. Some of the undead that had been thought dead were actually hidden, lurking in secret, waiting for the command of their dark masters. And they flooded into all the outposts. It is said that very, very few survived to return to Salamnia. The castle held for a while. There was a great knight there, a Lord of the Rose. But even there was some dark champion some sort of warrior wearing bone armor. They say that the Knight of the Rose struck him down 3 times. But each time he rose. And each time the knight was a little more tired from his exertions. You know how a long fight will take it out of you, Baldwin. But the undead do not tire. And this bone-clad champion eventually slew that great warrior. And then that fortress fell. The gates were opened, and the undead fell upon the place. The walls were broken, only a single tower remains. But they say that tower is still intact. A stone tower, not like the wooden walls of this place. A stronger and more secure outpost for us. A bridging ground to the forest and perhaps the riches that my uncle always said lay there. His friend Lucius, you know him now. His friend Lucius always insisted that there was some great cache, some great treasure hidden there. And my uncle always felt that, well, if that were found, then a great many more people would come to this area, forcing the knights to reinforce us and take more seriously the resettlement of this place, to the good of all Solamnia. That was his dream. And he shrugs, but he looks sad.
A dream you're looking to carry on, Lord Geraint. It's good foresight, trying to expand this place.
I hope we're not stretching ourselves too thin. I do know that my friend, or the man I thought to be my friend, Kalinius, was very much against us expanding to the north, which makes me now think that we should do it.
Very well. I did want to ask, Lord Geraint, not to pry, but you've suffered quite a bit these last few days. Are you alright? How are you holding up?
He doesn't react in quite the way you expected. You weren't sure if he'd deny it or if he would, be grateful for your interest. But he actually seems angry. He draws himself up. He'd been a little slumped, looking a little vulnerable. And he says, "I thank you for your concern, Baldwin, but it is not warranted. You are dismissed." And yeah, that kind of, the former kind of icy shroud, the icy barrier over his emotions just drops into place like a kind of portcullis crashing down. It's abrupt, it's stark. And he just turns on his heels, nods to you curtly, and then just strides away. It's really abrupt.
And Baldwin has nothing else to say then. He's gone.
No.
So he walks in and he sits back down at the table.
It was definitely a very dramatic reaction.
It is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, sits back down at the table. Well, we have new orders. Suppose I'm to lead you.
Where to?
The north, there is a tower. It used to be part of an old settlement, an old castle that's here. It's a tower of stone, and there is supposed to be a cache of relics and treasures there. So it is a boon for the region. Might draw others here.
You think actually he was talking about the sanctum,
Right.
probably. So you think probably that Lucius has told Alfric, his old friend, about the sanctum, and this tower being on the edge of the forest is quite close. It's much closer to the entrance to the sanctum.
Retcon it to that. Taking a tower near the sanctum.
Well, isn't that convenient?
It is a step in the right direction, I suppose. So, if, I think we provision for the journey, and, let's see, how long does everyone need before we go?
Ash kind of looks up to Jeffrem, the bartender. How much ale do you have, Jeffrem? A barrel or two? And he kind of looks back to Baldwin. Do you think we will need that on the trip?
Are you going to carry it, or ask Dalren to do it?
And Ash kind of like looks to Dalrend and winks at him and kind of shrugs his shoulder like, what do you think?
I mean, let's not forget I had 2 horses and a cart when we arrived.
It's true. Yeah. Those still belong to you guys. Yeah, they haven't been claimed by the knighthood.
Then we
It's
shall
more of a prison
adventure in style. Lots of food and drink and ale, some good tents.
Although not bound by duty, I shall go with you. To help.
Is it only to help or to listen to more of my stories? I have not told you some.
Definitely to help.
I would love to hear some of your stories, Ayash.
Of course.
And Rubrum, of course, you're welcome to join us.
Wonderful.
Darius says,
Increase your wisdom, Rubrum. Wisdom of the female form.
I know what a female is. Do you think I was
My
born
dear weird
yesterday?
man. You wouldn't know if a female sat on you.
Darius, chuckling slightly, says, "Look, I feel a little guilty about what's happened to Isabeau." Galbraith, you're a little skeptical about that as an explanation, but he said, "So I'm going to stay here and keep an eye on her. Besides, those wolves might still be out there looking for me."
Yes, that might be for the best.
How honorable to stay behind and make sure the Lady Isabeau is okay.
Darius winks.
Rubrum, I was on mute, but Rubrum, he kind of lets you talk for a minute, Darius, and then he goes back at Aish and he says, "I will have you know, I had a woman ride upon me all the time."
Ash kind of like turns around and gives Rubrum the look. Then it is your turn, weird man, to tell me stories about such conquests.
It was not a
Some more
conquest. It was a privilege for her.
Oh, tell me more. And then he kind of turns around to Jeffrem and says, Ale for my friend, the weird man here. Keep it coming. He has a long story to tell me.
He looks over to Baldwin and just shakes his head. "No, I cannot. It is not time for such talk of past deeds, many years in the past."
We'll leave in 1 hour. Try not to be too drunk before then, and we'll stay as Rubrum Dalren nods.
And Lucius gets up and says to you, Baldwin, he says, I will stay here in Norhold, and on the morrow I will try to cure your friend in the infirmary."
Oh, good. Yeah. My manners. Let me introduce the two of you, just so that she is familiar with you.
Thank you. And we'll say you do that off camera.
Yeah.
Okay, you lead him off in that direction. Cool. Anything else here? And if you make inquiries, you're told by some of the other guards that you're told a couple of things. One is that if you start early in the morning, you can make it to that watchtower by nightfall. So it's best not to try to do it today. It's a little late in the day. You'll be stuck out in the open at night, and also north of here where it gets a little hairier. And the second thing is that Geraint has sent out the hunter Osrin, who brings back some of the sort of fresh meat for the almost the fresh meat for the outpost, and to kind of scout that area. But Osrin hasn't returned yet.
He's gone up to the north, you said.
Yeah, to scout out the area around the tower to give intelligence to you guys. See, normally that would be Solinaren's job, but Solinaren's gone south with taking word to the knighthood.
Did he give any kind of ideas of where he was going to start, what kind of path he was going to follow, or he just kind of left to his own devices?
He was left to his own devices.
Okay. Well.
Osrin's kind of a pretty self-sufficient guy. You know, he's friendly enough, but he doesn't discuss with anyone what he does. When he's out there in the wilds, he does his own thing.
I say that we'll keep an eye out for him.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. Anything else from anyone before we roll to the next day?
Nope.
Okay. You leave with dawn the next morning. And we'll go over to here. As the dawn rises, you exit from the southern gate, the only gate of Norhold, and then make your way round the walls and off to the north. You're told that the watchtower lies more or less directly north of you, and there is a rise that you can see in the distance, and you're told it's directly in line with that or near enough. You'll see another rise once you've got to that one, and then from there, you can. Yeah, there's a series of landmarks to make your way to this tower. Seems to be a known location. Is anyone doing anything on the way?
Yes. So, I should have prepared the night, getting ready for this journey. And then on and off, he would have kept pestering the weird man to tell him his story. But, he doesn't, and he keeps, being the usual gruff with him. So next day, as they are, starting their journey, Ash, as usual, gets up late. Everybody's already, down. He comes running down, his shirt and, unevenly buttoned, and his satchel with him. And as they head out, he starts strumming, and interestingly, the strumming has become way better. He can keep multiple tunes. It's interesting to see how quickly he's picking up the lute, even though he doesn't understand the instrument. And then he kind of gets gets a little ahead, and he starts humming. And he then starts singing, "Misty morning, clouds in the sky. Without warning, the weird man walks by. Casting shadow, weaving his spell. The ladies ride him a long time with a rebel yell." And he kind of turns around and gives him a wink. And then continues on strumming his lute.
Rubrum grunts and says, "Lady, not ladies." "I've only had one rider, you fool." He grumbles to himself.
Baldwin turns. "I did not take you for a man of such commitment."
Yes, very much so. She is long dead now.
You have my condolences then.
He just shrugs. So it is the way of mortality.
Baldwin kind of narrows his eyes at that, but it's not quite sure how to ask that question yet.
Anything from the rest of you as you head further north? You're all aware you've not been this far, this deep into Nightlund before. How you feeling?
Dalren definitely keeps an eye open, looking for any trouble, considering how untamed it is or untapped potential. But for the most part, his mind is on taking this tower and being one step closer to the sanctum and maybe figuring out the next step in unlocking its secrets.
How about Ash?
Yeah, Ash is, he's singing and he's kind of frolicking about. He definitely doesn't have any seriousness about him. He actually seems very happy to leave the keep. He feels that he has explored everything that is there to explore, and someone like Ash, it feels like you're kind of keeping a bird caged. And now he's on an adventure. He's going to see some new things and new lands, and he's looking around. He has his eyes about. To see, to understand this place so he can write rhymes and tunes and sagas about it.
Baldwin, he looks around, of course, seeing Nightlund as it is, and he'll actually step up near Ayesh, and he sees him playing tunes, strumming and humming, and it's quite a beautiful sound.
Yes, thank you. Yes. I do not know. They call this a lute. Never come across it. Till we went to Starmont.
You played well. We haven't gotten to talk much, Ayesh. Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from a little town by the Isles of the Dragons. As the people of this place call it, the Dragon Isles. It's a small little island with a few villages and then one big town.
What brought you out here? Just wanted to see the world, or?
Yes, well, for someone like Ash, a small town eventually just runs out of things to do, people to meet and tales to tell and lasses to kiss. But no, there's something out there in the world. I don't know what it is. All the big tales talk about it. All the sagas talk about it. I want to find that. I want to write my own saga. And about all of you and all the other people I meet. The one song, the one song that everybody sings. Yeah, I want to do that.
Bard's masterpiece. It's a noble pursuit.
It's the only pursuit. And then in the pursuit of that, you live life.
You seem to have a good head on your shoulders, Ayesh.
Oh, that's what they all say. I give good head. Is that what? No, sorry. Oh, a good head on my shoulders. Yes.
That
Yes.
is what I said, yes.
Yes, thank you. Not many people have said it, but I knew you always see the good in people, Baldwin. You always see the good in... I will always remember you coming to my aid and speaking for me at the keep. You have an ally in me. And my saga needs a hero. Heroes. Even that big brute back there.
And Baldwin looks back at Dalrend. Brute is apt, but I'm certain there is more to him than his strength.
Oh, there is. He and I fought a dragon together. Well,
Really?
yes, we did. Darius was there too. I know you and Ysabeau do not agree with his actions. But what would life be without that vein of danger, chance, luck? Ah. And now here we are, on a new adventure because of something he did. This has the makings of all a great saga. All a great saga.
I suppose there's truth in that, but I worry that his actions will bring ill tidings to those who are not involved in his tale.
Ah, but we are. We are all in somebody's tale. Darius, you will see that eventually. Just like I'm in yours and you're in mine, everyone we come in connection with will always be in each other's tales. Yes, sometimes the outcome may not be what we wish, but what would be the fun if everything happened the way we wished? And then he kind of prances around, playing a new tune that he's picking up. It's like there is like some wisdom, but there's also this tomfoolery about Ash that you're not like starting to see. Like, now that he's out in the open, away from the auxiliaries and the nonsense of marching in the mornings around an empty parade ground for, but still they're paying him, and steel is necessary to drink, and drink is necessary to write, and write is necessary to be famous. So, but now he's out, he's free, and he's just like, he's like this songbird that's like dancing around,
Old
spewing
enough
wisdom.
to know better, but too young to care.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, Baldwin lets it go on. He doesn't try to interject with that because he sees that Aish has a very clear and optimistic way to view life, even the troubles.
Okay, so I would like whoever is finding your path to make a survival check, and if you like, someone else can be helping them. As long as they're trained in survival, someone else proficient in survival, can help them, and that will give them advantage.
Who has survival?
Not me.
Not me.
Not me.
But do you have bard shit where you get your half proficiency on stuff?
Not yet, I think.
Ooh, level 3? Oh boy.
But let's try it out, because he's anyway like kind of.
Sure.
Let's see where it goes.
Take
right?
a 1d4 from guidance too, just to be safe. Why not?
Okay,
Yeah.
now you get Jack of all trades at level 2.
Yes,
Jack
you
of all trades.
You do have it.
Yeah.
I think
So
it's
you can add
proficiency?
half your proficiency
Oh, yeah, there
bonus
it is.
rounded
Yes, yes.
down to any ability check you make that doesn't already include your proficiency bonus.
Correct. So it'll be +1 to this roll, and then
Yeah.
I'll roll. Ignore
on
the
D4.
18.
11.
Okay, so 11 plus a d4.
Yeah. Why did that happen? I don't know.
You might have advantage selected on the sheet.
I think you did.
It was, but I couldn't see it. Sorry. And then 1d4. So 13.
13. Okay. With the directions you've been given, that's enough. So Aesh leads you unerringly along the path.
Unerringly, but like for people who know about efficiency, like Baldwin and Dalren, they would still see that he is being a little inefficient in the unerringness, right? He'll find a scenic bypass through a copse of trees where it's beautifully smelling and birds are chirping, and then they'll come back to the path, and It takes just a little longer, but he gets there. But it's the most scenic way to get there.
Excellent. Yeah. So he seems to sort of pick out the landmarks you need to guide you from sort of rise to rise. Pretty well. But yes, his path isn't always the most efficient, and there's definitely some wandering going on. Which means that as you approach the tower, the dark is coming upon you before you reach the tower. You see the tower, first of all, in the distance, and then it becomes clearer. A set of ruins and ruined walls on a rise. And beyond it, you can see wooded hillsides stretching as far as the eye can see. The overall place looks like this. There are ruined walls with a great hole in it, and a single tower surviving. The tower itself actually looks more like this, with steps leading up to a surviving wooden door. It doesn't look in great condition, but it is still there. There are even the remains of towers, so little turrets rather. So it does look fairly intact. It's not large, but this main building looks intact. But because you've taken a little bit longer to wander, as you reach the foot of this hill, the mist is starting to form. What are you going to do?
Yeah, seeing the mist, Baldwin looks at the others. I think we should press forward, try to get inside here. We don't know what's inside, but we know what waits for us beyond in the mist.
Agreed. Let us make haste, and once we get there, if we need to erect some sort of barricade to keep whatever is out in the mist out in the mist, then we shall do so and deal with whatever resides in this tower, if anything.
I pull my mace and put light on it with a cantrip, and then we'll run to move towards the tower, just in case it's dark inside.
Yeah, Ash would, he's playing, and then he kind of misses a tune, and then he kind of snaps out of it, and he realizes now suddenly it's like getting dusk, and he starts seeing the beginnings of mist out in the distance, and he starts seeing everybody kind of walking faster towards the tower. So he puts his loot back on his bag and pulls out his bow. Something just creeps him out. He just pulls out his bow. He's like looking around and starts following them quickly.
Okay, and as the mist rises, you find yourselves entering this courtyard. What do you do?
The doors are closed, open, beat up, broken.
The doors are closed. The wood looks old and not hugely solid, but just about solid.
I'll try it to see if it's unlocked.
Yeah, it does move a little bit, so you don't think it's locked or barred, but it's kind of pretty stuck.
Yeah, so he'll look back to Dalrend. It's unlocked, but it's a bit stuck. Would you mind giving me a hand?
Here, let me try. He'll
Yeah,
get up there and help him out, or take point if need be.
I'll give him advantage if I can with help. Just whatever, if he has to do something with strength.
Go for it. So you could make an athletics check, Dalrend, at advantage.
Advantage athletics, alrighty.
Oh, wait 1 second, sorry. Do you need to have athletics proficiency to help?
No.
Okay,
not in this
I
case.
will. Go ahead, my bad.
Okay, 15. Yeah, the door starts slowly moving open. You don't get it completely open, but you're able to open it enough that you can kind of slide through the gap you want. into the darkness.
He hopes he sees it's big enough for him, so he assumes it's big enough for everyone else. Lead the way, Baldwin, as he sees he's got the light on his mace, I believe.
Yeah, I'll step in. Step in, look around.
Okay. You step into a room that is full of wrecked furniture. There are only really fragments remaining because it's lain here so long. The various vermin have been at it, but now most of them even have gone. There's nothing left here to eat. Cobwebs deck the walls of this place, and the light spell that you're using, Baldwin, sheds a very cold light on the walls. It seems ghostly here. But after a few moments, you realize that there's nothing really here. Just an empty room, broken windows, a few nests, maybe a little rustle of a mouse, cobwebs and nothing else. In the corner of the room, there is an open, in this corner here, you can see that a spiral staircase leads up. But it leads up and down, in fact, sorry. No but.
Baldwin, seeing that things, well, I'll do a quick perception check. I do have dark sight from Eyes of Night. The torch was, the light was mainly for everybody else. But yeah.
Right.
A quick scan around the room.
You won't be able to use your dark vision while you've got the light spell going.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the room is well enough lit. You going over into that corner, or are you just looking around the room in general?
Just looking around the room right now. I just want to get everybody in first.
Yeah, is everyone going in? You can all see the mist is gathering, and there's possible movement out there in the mist. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, Rubrum will go in.
Okay. Excellent. Ash?
Yes, Ash would go in. Yeah.
Okay. And then anything else? Are you doing anything once everyone's in?
Once everybody's in, Dalrend will push the door back closed.
Yeah.
Just to ensure nothing follows him in.
Okay. Make that athletics check, because you've kind of wedged it open as far as you could, so it's kind of wedged fairly solidly now.
We get
It's
an
gonna be an
advantage
18.
again, or
yeah, if someone helps. Yep. And it'll be an 18 to
Alrighty.
close it.
Yeah.
oh well, there you go.
No problem. Yeah, it once you get it moving, it goes quite fast, and it almost slams shut. You just managed to stop it slamming, because you're not sure it would have been great for this old wood. But you do manage to get it closed.
Hopefully we don't have to get out fast.
Indeed. And looking around
There's
the room.
no obvious way to bar the door.
The windows, are they that high off the ground?
Yes,
Okay.
there's no windows on the ground.
Baldwin's not going to worry too much about that then.
Yeah.
He looks around. There's nothing that I can see in this room, but there is a spiral staircase in the corner.
You can all see that staircase. It's open. Stone steps leading up and down.
Do we go up or down first?
Well, what other opinions do we have?
If we go up, we can view the outside and see what's happening from a window.
This is true. I have a concern that if we go up, something from below could follow us up, but then the opposite could be true as well.
Well, then won't you have a tactical advantage being on top of the stairs?
This is true.
Yeah, stairs of castles wind the way they do to give an advantage to the defender on who's above.
So then, I suppose we go up, unless there are any objections. Rubrum, do you sense any magic here?
Yeah, I
Magical
can
presence,
cast
anything like
detect magic. What do you think?
Yeah, if you got its spell, if you're going to cast it as a ritual rather than using a slot, you can do that, but that would take 10 minutes. It's up to you. You can either use a slot on it or you can...
Yeah, he says, I need some time.
Very well. I'll stand guard at the stairs. I'll also do a divine sense.
Yeah, he would
Cool.
he would do that. He would try to do it as a ritual.
Okay, so it'll take time. You stand there at the stairs. Baldwin, can you make a perception check? Okay, 19. You think you heard some kind of scraping noise from below.
Yeah, very quietly. This is within the 10 minutes, right?
Yep. Yeah, this is after you've been standing there about a minute.
Very quietly, he will, he'll take a step or two back, without taking his eyes off the staircase. He'll kind of look halfway back. Something is downstairs. The scraping.
Do we bring it to us or go see what's that down there?
Like Rubrum said, it's better to be upstairs than downstairs in this. Perhaps we could try to bait it up. Meet it here at the stairs.
Sounds good.
If you wish to stand at the ready, perhaps yes you with your bow. I could make a noise with my mace against the wall.
Yes, yes.
And I will, once everybody's ready, I will...
Can you wait until he's done doing detect magic?
Yeah,
I don't know
I
how
can-
long it's
I
how
can-
long it's going to take afterwards. I don't know if that'll give us any information that we want to know.
Yeah, we can wait. We'll wait on this. Let us know when you're finished.
Almost.
Okay, so you stand there for several nerve-wracking minutes, and listening to this sound of scraping below. There's a kind of shuffling, scraping noise that goes on. Some other noises, noise of maybe something thudding quietly, like it's like sort of a couple of times and then it goes quiet. But it never gets any closer. It just seems to be coming from the stairs, and that's it.
Doesn't look like it's taking the bait.
Well, have we
We haven't.
yeah, have we done
Oh,
anything
sorry.
yet?
So no, eventually the 10 minutes goes past, and if you don't do anything else, then you will cast your detect magic. And there is no magic in this room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Room just shakes his
Yeah.
head. I sense nothing.
Ace kind of looks around when you say that. It could just be the wind hitting against a board or some sort of a window. You never know.
That would be an ideal situation, but out here this far, rarely do we encounter the ideal.
Just make a bunch of noise and see if it comes.
I can make noise, should I?
Yes, and now yeah, that might actually work better. It's like, yes, make some beautiful noise. Yes.
And Ash kind of slings his crossbow and steps a little bit away from the, from the stairs so that, and then he kind of takes his lute out and he goes, tring, he, strums all the strings and then kind of strums all the strings backwards. And then quickly puts his lute back and kind of picks his crossbow up.
Okay, what are you doing next?
No, there's
You know
no,
what? I think this is a good moment to take a 5-minute break. Let's do that. Cool. Okay. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in 5 minutes. Oh,
Back.
Yeah.
okay.
No,
That's back. Ghost Cypher.
I am here.
Cool. 20 francs then.
Cypher, I think, is composing more music.
100%.
Might take a little longer.
Saucy limericks.
I wish now I had I'd prepared an interior view of this. There we go. There we go. Can't get everything perfect.
Bing finally failed you.
I've got to say, actually, these two tower pictures both came from Bing Image Creator. It's way better than Midjourney. It's the newer generation of AI art generation. It's much better.
Nice.
You still get weird stuff, but it's much harder to. It's not much less immediately obvious. You can see it when you've been staring at it for a while.
It's not just a sexual minotaur's upper torso sticking out of the bed.
In bed, right?
In bed, yeah.
Yeah,
Literally
you have
in
to try.
bed.
You have to try a lot harder to generate golden content like that.
Adult content. You print that out and put it on the wall. Baby,
Yeah,
look at this
yeah.
minotaur. It's in bed.
And just every day print a new one and put it on a wall in a room and then show it off to somebody.
Take it to work.
Yeah.
Look at what I drew.
My kids,
Christmas presents.
my kids will say I've been scarring them again.
Just an entire room end to end on the walls with minotaur pictures in a bed.
Sexy minotaurs.
This is my
Just-
shrine.
Not just in bed, it's in the bed. Zypher, you back yet?
Yeah, I'm back.
The bar
Ah,
of
cool.
return.
Right, we're all
Yeah,
back.
talk
Okay.
about sexy minotaurs.
No, okay, we'll pause for a second, then I'll
Yeah,
start.
please get out there.
Okay, so you are in this tower. You are on the ground floor. The place is abandoned. There's no sign of magic. Just a strange noise from, but you think below. It's certainly coming from the stairs, but getting no closer. And you've decided to head up, right?
I was saying that AH played a note on his lute, like a twang, to see if that was gonna get
Any
somebody's
reaction?
attention. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a pause, and then the kind of thudding noise happens a few times, and then stops, and the shuffling starts again.
Dalren's obviously getting a little impatient. He's just like, he kind of looks at the group. Should we just go see what it is?
Yes, I think if it could have gotten up here, it would have tried.
Perhaps it's chained, whatever it is.
Or something
I
undead
still
walking
follow you,
around in
Minotaur.
the dark. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No,
Ted,
he
go
just says, or just something undead walking in the dark, bouncing off the walls.
ahead. Oh, I won't follow you then, Minotaur.
So you're going over to the stairs, Dalrend? You going down? Or
Yeah, he's with his sword, he's out. He's gonna go down and see if he can find what's causing this something.
Yeah.
At least identify it before they decide what to do.
I'll go down
You go down the stairs and find they ended a door, but the door is appears to be shut, and there are various pieces of broken wood and stuff just kind of, and some stones even, just kind of piled up against the door.
He kind of goes down there and Huh. Looks like they're trying to keep something in, wouldn't you say?
It appears that way.
Baldwin, did you hear Eleonora's tale? I'm trying to think who heard it.
I don't think I did. She
You
told that
don't.
to
Aesh.
Aesh and Isabeau.
Yeah.
Yep.
Aesh, would you like to make an intelligence check? DC 8 to see whether you can remember this. Well, we'll say anything from 5 above and above you remember something. 10 or 15 you'll remember more. Okay, so your save is actually the same as your check, I believe. So 12. Okay, you suddenly remember that you heard the young knight, the former squire Eleonora, tell you about this place when you were on watch with her that night in the keep at Norhold. Do you remember the night the Knights of Naraka were there, and then Lord Alfric was found dead in the morning?
Yes, that one, yes.
So she mentioned that she'd come here when she was a squire not long ago with the knight she served, and the knight she served died here. They kind of carried her body out, but it was in the basement where she died, fighting undead. But the basement here isn't just under the tower; it goes a bit further. There's more there, and that's where her master, the knight that she served, bit off more than she could chew.
Yeah, as Dalrend is kind of saying that and he's moving closer to the door, Ash kind of gets his bearings, like he's coming out of a dream even more, like the stark reality of like having the idyllic morning, and now, it's always the night that brings the terrors, right? So he's like, wait, don't touch it. Wait.
Why? What's behind this door?
That's where the young... What's her name again? Leona, right? No.
Eleonora,
yeah. So he's like, that's where Eleonora, that's where she saw her master fall to the undead. In the catacombs underneath this tower is what she said. She said they should never have been there. An unending horde, and now he's trying to embellish like as usual, right? He can never not tell a story, so he's so he's like, yeah, and he said they fought bravely and great difficulty, blow for blow, every time the undead would keep coming, unstoppable. No, I think we should leave it.
And I tell he's embellished.
Yeah,
you can make an
Okay.
insight check.
Okay.
yeah, that's awesome. Do it.
So let's do deception for Aesh or performance, whichever you prefer.
Yeah,
You
performance.
can try.
And insight for Baldwin.
You can try. I wish you luck.
Yeah. So you don't think he's deliberately lying. This is just a performance.
It's a yes. It's a yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just to
so-
punctuate it, there's a on the door.
Yeah, so
Like
Baldwin, he reacts to the bumps, thinking that, wondering if it's gonna come down, but then seeing it's not, he looks back to Ash and he gives like a very slight smile. Well, they were unprepared. Thanks to you, we're prepared, and our duty is to take this tower.
This thing isn't going anywhere. Should we see what's at the top first?
I think that's a sound decision, yes. And then after we take care of anything else that might be above us, we come back down here and we confront this foe.
You hear something unexpected. You hear a voice from outside call out in a not unpleasant voice, but one that has a strange echo to it. You in the tower. Show your faces. I would speak with you. Like I said, it seems a normal voice, apart from there's a really weird echo to it you just don't like. It sets the hairs on your neck just kind of standing up.
Is it, can we tell, like, what the voice sounds like? Does it sound like sound forced? Does it sound more feminine? What does it sound like?
No, it sounds male. It sounds confident, kind of even friendly, fairly normal voice, confident, deep voice, deeper than mine probably. But there's just this odd sound to it, which you realise is an odd echo. It seems to echo by itself. It's like the voice has got a little bit of reverb or something, but it's something just off about it.
Baldwin's gonna assume it might be the necromancer's apprentice, thinking that Darius is with us.
Darius is not with us, though, is he?
No.
Nope. He's safe in Norhold.
Yeah. They know we're here. I will try to speak with them. And I'll head upstairs to the door.
Okay. And the voice now sounding amused as you go towards the door. The voice is saying, "Show yourselves. If I meant you harm, you would have already come to harm." And then a low, unpleasant chuckle.
We might speak, though it will be through the door.
The voice is not directly outside the door. It's a little further away. As you came to close to this window, you also heard a certain amount of kind of moaning and groaning noises. You could look out this window if you want.
Yeah, but not too close.
Yeah. You kind of peek out and you can see out there is a group of zombies, the Walking Dead. They are kind of shambling in a kind of small horde of maybe about 20. And leading them is what appears at first to be a skeleton. And then you realize, no, it's not a skeleton. It's a person, but they are wearing a human skeleton as armor. It's not quite as fanciful as this, but the helm looks kind of like this. And it sort of catches some movement in the window and like glances over there and says, "I presume you are some of the servants of Solamnia that have made your nest to the south of here. I wish you to convey a message to your masters. This land belongs to Chemosh, Lord of Night, Keeper of the Gates of Death, Granter of Life beyond death. This is his domain. So it was, so it shall always be."
Yeah, Baldwin sees him. He looks, calls back. "Only so long as the lands are allowed to be his, and it shall not be for much longer."
"Do you not know the tale of this place? Your voice sounds young. No doubt idealistic, a young knight on your first quest, your first posting." "Oh, you know so little of the world."
"I know enough about your ilk. Do not presume to know me, or what I have seen. I am familiar with your god."
"Ah, then you know what an honor it is that I have been created to oppose you." And he gives a low chuckle again. Says, "Have you ever heard of a bone acolyte? For that is what I am. newly arisen to my rank, chosen from among our ranks to receive the dark blessing and live forever.
Rubrum's kind of laughing in the background at that.
You can, Rubrum, you can make a, anyone who wants can make a religion or arcana check. So religion will be DC 17, arcana will be DC 20.
Yeah, Baldwin like doesn't include anything, but an answer.
Ain't a thing.
Oh God.
Whoops, sorry. The first roll obviously is the...
Yep. Okay. So Rubrum and Dalrend, you both know of this. So Dalrend, you know that there is some sort of a bone acolyte is a senior servant of the god of death who's gone through some kind of dark ritual to turn him into something that's not quite undead but isn't quite living as well, somewhere between the two. And it starts off as a sort of mortal servant of the death god and goes through this and becomes something that is very, very difficult to kill, like the one that's in the story from 200 years ago, except this appears to be a newly created one, created to oppose this new settlement that you guys are part of. And Rubrum, you know kind of exactly what it takes. You know, there's it involves kind of human sacrifice and stuff, and there's a very complex ritual.
To make them, you mean?
Yeah.
Do I have any idea, like, is there any thing I know about how to destroy them?
Nothing that comes immediately to mind, but I'll have a think about what you get from 21 and I'll send you something. But you do know they are very difficult to destroy. Just simply killing them isn't enough. They tend to rise again.
Baldwin doesn't apparently know any of this, but just hearing them drone on, he sighs as if he's seen posturing. You sacrificed your soul, polluted it, gave it to something evil, something abhorrent. You have no honor, and you are worth less than dirt. Either be about this business, whatever you plan to do here, or be on your way and quit wasting our time.
Oh, you say that when I bring you news of a friend. I'm hurt.
What friend?
Well, I believe he was a friend of yours. A scout, a hunter, I believe, a man by the name of Osrin. Yes, did you wish to know what became of him? I have seen him. In fact, and he pauses and there's another low chuckle, he says, you could say he made me the man I am today.
Yeah, Baldwin's getting a little bit heated.
Rubrum walks up behind Baldwin, puts his hand on his shoulder. Do not let him chide you and draw you out. We are safest inside.
Another name you will pay for. I repeat my request. Either be about what you're here to do, and meet us here if that is what you intend, or be on your way. We have more pressing matters than a dog.
And he does this time, he just belly laughs, and there's kind of moans from the zombies. And he says, very well. I have done what I came for.
Speak your name.
And he pauses and he says, no, I think I will not. You have gone out of your way to try to goad me. I think I will perhaps withhold my name, that it may stick in your craw a little, Sir Knight.
A shame. I suppose
next time we meet...
tombstone with no name on it, and I pay him no further mind.
He says, next time we meet, show your face and then I will tell you my name. And he turns on his heels as well. Some of the zombies remain kind of... Okay. Yeah, so you're not entirely sure how to destroy this thing. You know that roughly what it will take is not just to kill it, but you actually have to restrain it long enough to actually bless the bones that are like a 10-minute ritual, to bless the bones, kind of sanctify the bones of its victim, and basically get them to detach from it. And at that point, the person becomes mortal again and can be killed. But it does mean that, yeah, you've got to actually hold them down for 10 minutes and do it. And you have to know the right sort of spell for it, which I will have to look up. So what are you guys doing? You've just had this thing appear with a bunch of zombies. There's still a few outside, maybe about 5, just kind of roaming around this kind of entrance area around here. There's still the thudding from down below. You actually noticed that the thudding from down below ceased while this thing was talking to you. Like whatever was down there was kind of responding to its presence in some way.
Baldwin will look at everyone else, and after he composes himself a bit, I think we can't go out. We stick to our original plan. This changes nothing unless they try to come in. Clear the upstairs and then downstairs at last.
Do we have to go downstairs? The door is barred. Whatever is on the other side cannot come through. Why don't we just check the upstairs, spend the night, and then find another way down? That is not this.
Well, Durant's orders were to clear the tower. That is part of the tower. I don't think that whoever we post here would be very happy with having a basement that is flooded with creatures.
Oh, I see. That's what he meant by cleaning the tower. Oh.
I have no doubt that we can handle whatever is down there, particularly with your skills with the bow, Dalren's ability with that sword, and then Rubram's with his magics. We should not have any issue. We'll be fine. Trust us.
Okay, I shall follow you, but at a distance.
Very good. Yeah, and if there's, I guess we'll start heading up, or I'll head up.
Yeah, I think actually this is probably a good place to end it for the day. I think possibly a good way to sort of end this so that we can carry on next time is to say that you decide to search in the morning, and I think if you send, because I don't think WP's in the next session, so if we say that Dalrend goes south to take word, and that Isabeau arrives to kind of lead the cleaning of the tower, that should work out.
Sweet. Woohoo!
Cool.
Open your own doors. I'm out of here.
You can deal with this shit.
And without Dalred, no one can open or close the
Yeah.
doors. Yeah.
Hey, come back and open this door.
Just get
Cool.
a missive. You're back at the